What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that I am bringing you Yuletide greetings. Is that the appropriate terminology? I don't know. I don't think I've ever audibly expressed Yuletide greetings to anyone before, but here they are nonetheless. It is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. And there is hope on the Dallas Cowboys season still, which is pretty amazing. Kate McAllister did once say that Christmas is the season of perpetual hope, and we have arrived there. If you have arrived here for the first time, please subscribe to the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. A daily discussion about the Dallas Cowboys. That's 24/7, 365. Not literally 24/7, but you get my point. All the time, even in the off season, I'm here talking all things America's team. I'm also on my social profiles, X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads, Blue Sky, whatever. The links to all my social profiles down in the description below if you want to hang out with me anywhere else on the internet. Today, we're going to be talking about all things pertaining to the Cowboys and their playoff chances, because on Monday night, the Cowboys got a miracle. In case you saw, the Eagles just out-frauded their fraudulent selves on Monday Night Football against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I know that we were all still licking our wounds from last Thursday night when the Cowboys lost to the Detroit Lions, but Monday night was critical. Monday night was sort of, I'll go as far as saying Monday night was mandatory to keeping hope alive on the 2025 Dallas Cowboys season. And two things in that respect. I want to be very clear here. There's no wrong way. There is never a wrong way to be a fan. So if you feel one way that I don't, that's okay. But if someone else feels a way that you don't, that's okay. You don't have to say, oh, the Cowboys aren't going to the playoffs this year. What are you doing wasting your time? You also don't have to say, oh, why are you focusing on the draft? They still have a chance to go to the playoffs this year. It could work out that way. Obviously, we all have different thoughts and opinions and stances and perceptions on this, that, and the other. So just take a breath. It's okay, right? Everyone's going to feel the way they want to feel. But as of Tuesday morning, the Dallas Cowboys were given new hope. And here's why. Let's take a look at this on your screen here. The Dallas Cowboys need 6 specific things. If we want to break things down into baseball terminology, the Dallas Cowboys have a magic number of 6, which is something that has been their magic number for almost 30 years now in terms of chasing that 6th Lombardi trophy. But the Cowboys have to win out. That would be 4 wins, obviously, for them, and pick up 2 Eagles losses in order to win the NFC East. And we're boiling down the discussion of magic numbers or whatever the case may be to NFC East discussions because this seems to be the most probable way that the Cowboys can enter the playoffs. It is not a probable path in general discussion, but of all possible entry points for the Cowboys to the playoffs this season, this is the most probable of any that we can conjure up. That being said, the Cowboys have to win out. They host the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday Night Football. They host the Los Angeles Chargers next Sunday. And then they visit the Washington Commanders. That's a Thursday. That's Christmas Day before visiting the New York Giants to close it out. They'll be coming off the mini-bye then as well. The Eagles, meanwhile, who are losers of 3 straight, host the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday, travel to face the Washington Commanders themselves, travel to take on the Buffalo Bills, and then host the Washington Commanders to close it out. Basically, we need Dan Quinn and the rest of the gang to come through at least one time because I think we all believe the Bills are going to take care of business against the Eagles and that there's no way the Raiders will. So it's possible. It's doable. It is Christmas time, the season of perpetual hope. Shout out Kate McAllister. This is technically something that could happen. Do the Cowboys have to catch some breaks? Absolutely. Do the Cowboys have to take care of business themselves? Absolutely. But had the Eagles won on Monday Night Football, had they beaten the Los Angeles Chargers, we would be looking at this exact same list and saying they had to lose 3 of them. It's possible for them to lose 2. Asking for 3 would have been too much. So shout out to Santa Claus for bringing an early Christmas present. And I think that it goes without saying, like I said, and this is something I've been talking about in the NFC's mixtape with Brandon Lee Gouton. We believe, and I think this includes Eagles fans, that Philadelphia is going to drop that Bills game and win that Raiders game, right? Like you can kind of put each of those on either side of the aisle. It comes down to, can Washington win one of those 2 games? We have no idea whether or not Jaden Daniels is going to play. We have no idea whether or not Marcus Mariota is going to start, whatever. We have no idea how teams are going to approach, obviously, the final few weeks of the season. We also don't know what Buffalo's standing is going to be at that point in time, right? Could they have stormed back and made the AFC East a discussion? Have they, at that point in time, hypothetically, potentially lost the AFC East to New England? Are they satisfied with their wild card positioning, right? There's a lot that can and will happen over the course of the next few weeks. But all of this discussion is ultimately rendered moot if the Cowboys don't take care of business. The Cowboys, as we said last week, could afford to lose one more game. And it's unfortunate that they did because we wanted them to win out, obviously. But losing to Detroit was not the end of the road. It did make matters for the Cowboys towards a potential wild card spot all the more difficult. But as we've been discussing for a long time, the more probable path to the playoffs was as the NFC East winner. And had they won, obviously they would be in better position in Week 15 than they are now. But because the Eagles lost to the Chargers, hope is not lost. And it stands to reason that the Cowboys will be favored in their 4 remaining games. Now, being favored by no means, suggests that you are definitely going to win those games. The Cowboys were favored against Chicago and Carolina and Arizona, just to provide some examples of how that isn't necessarily always representative of something that is going to happen. But I say that to say the Cowboys, if things go chalk, if they take care of business, should hold up their end of the bargain. They should win their 4 remaining games. So it comes down to Buffalo, somebody else. It is within the realm of possibility, which is a very difficult thing to believe here at this moment in time in, almost mid-December, that the Dallas Cowboys could win the NFC East. And look, that's part of why we love this, right? Part of why we devote so much time and energy to it, because we want to believe that these things are possible. We want to believe that the Cowboys can pull off a miracle. We want to believe that fate can smile upon them. We've been waiting for that to happen in late January for forever at this point in time, as mentioned, with 6 being the magic number. But for what it's worth, Vegas does not necessarily agree with our spirit of ambition, our spirit of hope. Let me change my screens that I have going on here. 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, and here we go. What you're looking at right here are FanDuel Sportsbook's odds to win the NFC East. Now, these odds are as of Tuesday, December 9th, just for clarity and context, because these things are always subject to change. And that being said, FanDuel has the Philadelphia Eagles at minus 1,000 to win the NFC East. They have the Dallas Cowboys at plus 750. In case you do not know how to read this or what that means, what betting language or betting terminology suggests, for the Eagles as minus 1,000, that means you would have to bet $1,000 to win $100. They are that favorite. There is that strong of a likelihood that they are going to do it. And the other side of the coin, the Cowboys at plus 750, what that means is that if you bet $100, you would win $750. They are that much of an underdog. They're that much of a long shot. It is that, unlikely that it will happen. And so if you believe it's going to happen, then I would jump on this right now. But ultimately, it's very often said that the buildings in Las Vegas are tall and shiny, not by accident, but they have been wrong before, and things can change, and the Eagles seem hell-bent on fully imploding. But these, nevertheless, are the odds as we begin Week 15, which is just important context to set the stage. And it's fair. I think it makes sense because you're talking about a Cowboys team that has to win 4 games to close out the season, and an Eagles team that, even though they are struggling and taking on water, would have to lose 2 games in a 4-week stretch that doesn't exactly feature 4 formidable games. So it is a long shot thing. These odds aren't shocking in that respect, at least in my humble opinion. But if you like the odds, if you like what you're seeing there, by all means, jump on board. And I hope you win. I really do. If you're taking the Cowboys, I definitely hope that that's what happens here. But one last thing to look at as we gear up for Week 15. And obviously we're getting ready for the Vikings, and it's difficult to kind of be looking and jumping and whatever. And I should say, by the way, that next week's going to be a little bit weird. I'm going to be traveling next week, Christmas holiday with my family, heading on out to Arizona. There'll still be shows. There'll still be videos. There'll still be live post-game show, just different setting and whatnot following the Vikings game. But just be on the lookout. So some stuff will be different. Might have to run the Madden simulation for the Chargers game next week a little bit earlier. So just for everyone's understanding and context, I appreciate your understanding. But looking ahead to Week 15, the Cowboys and all of us are going to be rooting for a variety of things. So let's put this up on your screen here. Here is our Week 15. If I could take a breath at the proper time. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's been a long, 3 weeks, 4 weeks at this point in time. But let's take a deep breath. We got this. Here is our Week 15 Dallas Cowboys rooting guide. Now, there are differing levels of priority here. There are differing levels of importance. But if you are looking to root for all things that can help the Dallas Cowboys in some way, shape, or form, this is pretty much your 8-game list across Week 15. The most important thing is for the Las Vegas Raiders to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. If we could have one thing from these 8 games, that's the one we want. And it obviously goes without saying they're rooting for the Cowboys to win. Everything else, we're rooting for the Falcons, the Browns, the Saints, the Titans, the Broncos, the Rams, and the Colts to beat the games, or to win the games that they're playing against their respective opponents to help the Cowboys in a potential hypothetical world where they are contending and competing for a wild card spot. The Cowboys' chances at a wild card were significantly hindered by their loss against the Lions last week. Because it was against the Lions, that specific detail of it all really complicated the process for the Cowboys to potentially be a wild card team, which is why we're so focused on the NFC East. But nothing is impossible. There are 4 weeks left in the regular season, and so that's enough time for crazy math to go Dallas's way. So these are the things. Again, the Atlanta, Cleveland, New Orleans, Tennessee, Denver, Los Angeles, and Indianapolis games that we are rooting for to go that way are for the sole and express purpose of opening up more doors of opportunities for the Cowboys relative to a wild card spot, a potential wild card berth. Also, obviously, in case it isn't obvious, we're rooting for the Broncos to beat the Packers because we want the Packers to lose for wildcard purposes, but also because the Cowboys hold Green Bay's first-round draft pick in 2026. But again, the most important, the most critical, the one that we would trade everything else for is for the Raiders to beat the Eagles. If the Raiders beat the Eagles on Sunday, early in the day, and the Cowboys beat the Vikings on Sunday Night Football, holy guacamole. We are going to have one heck of a week next week as we get ready for more fun-filled action across the rest of the NFL. But this is our Dallas Cowboys rooting guide for anybody who is interested. Okay, that was my big deep breath. And I'm excited. I'm having fun. I mean, look, I know that the Eagles lost on Monday night obviously opened a door of opportunity for the Cowboys. And I know that it's frustrating to think about what if Dallas had beaten Detroit, or it's even more frustrating to think what if Dallas had beaten Arizona, or what if they hadn't lost against Carolina or Chicago, whatever. I mean, I have my qualms with the Cowboys and how they got here. We all do. And I think we all agree, at least I hope we all agree, at least I can speak for myself in saying that I do think the Cowboys and the franchise are turning a corner and that brighter days are ahead. We can figure that out, obviously, in the offseason. But what I am grateful for is that because the Eagles lost on Monday night, it opened the door of hope across the rest of the season. Had they won, had the Eagles beaten the Chargers, it would have been very difficult to say or to suggest or to even cope ourselves into believing that Philadelphia could have lost 3 of their remaining 4 games. It's very difficult to conceive that they could lose 2 of their remaining 4 games. And obviously that Dallas could win out, although that part I think is a little bit easier to believe or to speculate about. That being said, we have now a chance to believe. We have a chance now to hope. We have a chance now to dream. And that's the most fun part about this whole thing. And so obviously, I hope our dreams are realized. Obviously, I hope that everything goes the way we want. But the fact that this season isn't as DOA in the month of December as it was last year is, in a fan type of sense, already a big, sort of boost of wind in at least this fan sales. And I hope they are for you as well. Okay, so that's about it. Shout out to Bear and Honey, who were very good in my office while I was putting this video together. Very excited for them to go to camp while we're out of town. It's going to be a fun week for all of us. So they're pumped and they're napping, so I don't want to wake them. But if you want to see pictures of them, I did post a video on social on Monday night, and Honey got to be in it. So shout out to her. You can hang out with me anywhere across the internet. The links to all my social profiles down in the description below, as I noted. Later today, no, not later today, Tuesday morning here on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, I will have an interview with Michael Pittman, the Indianapolis Colts wide receiver. That's dropping on Wednesday, and then we'll have a live edition of the NFC's mixtape between myself and Brandon Lee Gowton on my personal YouTube channel, which is also linked down in the description below. I do a lot of golf stuff there, but we have some Olympic opportunities and Paralympic opportunities with the games obviously coming up very shortly. So Brenna Huckabee, Paralympic snowboarder, 3-time gold medalist. She sat down with me on Monday. I'm losing track of my days, and it was a wonderful chat, and we have some stuff coming around soon enough. So if you like sports, if you like good people, these are things that I think you should absolutely check out. I think you are good people, and I think you are good at sports. I promise you that I think that. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have an amazing Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday and whatnot. And I hope that kind of spirit of hope is encircling and swirling around you, and you're starting to feel a little bit more positive about the Cowboys, because last Thursday night and Friday were some rough days. So hopefully you've turned a corner, unless you're a Notre Dame fan, because then you're probably still pretty pissed off. So let's go ahead and let's get out of here, everybody. Shout out to Bear and Honey once more. Thank you all for your time, for hanging out, and good luck with Christmas shopping and Christmas baking, whatever else you got going on. We will see you next time, and as always, go Cowboys.